Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're discussing an almost forgotten Halloween-esque animated movie from 2014, The Book of Life.
This movie comes from the creative mind of Jorge Gutierrez that sort of centers around the Mexican holiday of Dia de los Muertos. It involves a musician named Monolo who would rather follow his passion for music than become bullfighter as his ancestors, and he has to save his town after a series of supernatural events causes him to get stuck in the land of the remembered.
And originally we weren't supposed to see this movie at all when it first came out. We were just like, it just passed by, and then we went to Redbox, and you said, get the movie! Because someone else was trying to get him, like, just get the movie! And we ended up watching it, and it was actually surprisingly good. And this was way before Disney put out Coco.
Right. It's beautifully animated, wonderful storytelling, very, very fun, and centering around a culture and a holiday that during that time many people were not familiar with. Now it's common knowledge, all throughout, this country and elsewhere. But during that time in 2014, people were just getting exposed to Dia de los Muertos.
Right. And each person has their own take on the holiday. They have different ways of presenting it, how these different lands look. The holiday works just the same in each time, but what's within it is different. And just like Coco manages to do something a little different from Book of Life, despite being just about the exact same plot and the exact same story, they still change at least a few things, so you know the difference.
Right. And again, as I mentioned, this was really a fun movie. It was fun throughout, even though the subject matter took place. It was about family members who'd passed on and how they helped this young man to break the curse, literally, that was on the family. It was still done in a very, very fun way, and with some great voice actors and characters. So tell them more about the Book of Life, which you love, 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 and also did a review on your channel, Rascal Entertainment.
Yes, and even did the full movie as a mashup project for Halloween. Awesome. So now everyone gets to see the original, and they get to see the mashup version, and they get to see a review, and they get to see this. So they get a full disclosure on it. Yeah.
Right.
Well, like I said, wasn't sure about the movie when it first came out, and it turned out to be really, really great. Everything about it was just really well done. And when it first came out, people absolutely loved the movie. And like I said, the story was actually entertaining, though some people were more into the Dia de los Muertos theme of it, which came in halfway through the movie, which I guess they wanted to see how they would present everything. The designs were really creative. They weren't completely human characters. He has some that were supposed to be mythical creatures, and the main characters were supposed to be like wooden marionettes. So that's why they all looked wooden, and they were shaped very oddly. And if you look close, you can see all the detail. They're all supposed to be like just little puppets that came to life.
Okay.
And they had a big voice cast in here too. They had Diego Luna, they had Channing Tatum, Ice Cube, So Saldana, Danny Trejo, Ron Perlman was the villain.
Right.
Christina Applegate. They had lots of celebrities in
cast
here. And they all fit the roles very well because each one was very unique. You couldn't confuse one for the other, and no one was written as a cardboard cutout character.
Right.
Even though it looked like it was supposed to be one, they managed to flesh out a seemingly generic story and make it into something where you are entertained and engaged in it throughout the entire movie.
And again, another big part of the joy of watching it is the animation and the beautiful backgrounds and all of the details and the beautiful colors and the vibrancy. Really, really just made it eye-catching, and it helped you to really pay attention, focus. And each time you watch it, I think we've seen it 3 times now. We literally just watched it before doing this podcast. You see details and little things and images that you didn't see before. There's just so much going on that you could have a totally different experience as far as looking at the background and characters and all the images and things each time you watch it.
Right. And I've also seen where they have shared on Tumblr back when the movie came out that the creator behind Jorge Gutierrez, of course, it was all inspired by Mexican culture and architecture, and there were actually real life inspirations from it. And the animation really stood out because when people posted what the film looked like and the production art, he always hated that the art will look different from the movie. The movie never looked like the art they planned out. So they kept doing it over and over until it looked like production art. And there were people that said that if they didn't see the movie, so they couldn't tell which was the art, which was the final product, because it looked just about the exact same. And he wanted to make sure it was authentic, so instead of going to local museums that portray the art, they went to actual places, or they asked him about what to put in the movie that would be authentic, so it wouldn't be treated as just the same cookie cutter thing you see in every other movie, and there wasn't research done. So it took a lot of time into making sure that it represented what the culture was about and their passion for it.
Definitely.
And there was also a lot of humor, very hilarious in the dialogue. And the main character has these mariachi band friends. And they all sing these American songs that think are romantic. And they're all like, no. And another thing that makes it stick out is a lot of the songs. Usually, musicals is like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. But all the songs were really well done, whether they were cover songs or original songs. All of them were very well done. They were fun to listen to. And two of them that really have become iconic for the movie was No Matter Where You Are, which was done by the group called Us the Duo. And what was the other one? Love You Too Much. And I wasn't sure if that was an original or if that was a cover. I think it was original. But they do sing, like I said, other cover songs in there as well.
Right. So, yes. Also, during the time, there were not many movies out that depicted this particular part of Latin culture. So this movie was a first for very many reasons. And of course, we were familiar with Gutierrez because of El Tigre, the television show, and you could see the animation style was very similar, if not the same in a lot of respects to that television show. Even in the beginning of the movie when they show the 2D, it was the El Tigre style. And if you look closely in the crowd, you could see the main characters somewhere in the crowd. And we also have done a podcast on El Tigre in June. So if you want to know more about that show, if you're not familiar, just type it into the search box and you can hear more on Jorge Gutierrez and how that show came to be and it being a precursor to this movie. And two more things I'd like to mention. The first would be that the movie's going to have 2 more sequels. Because the creator said that he wanted to have it as a trilogy. It just takes a while for them to do stuff like this and that much passion and detail. And they want each movie will focus on different characters. So this one focused on Monolo, so the next one will focus on Maria, and they want one to focus on Joaquin. So each character gets a spotlight movie. That's great. And I kind of point out, at some point in the movie that he needs to hurry up and have kids because all his family members get killed off by the bullfighting because that's the family tradition. And each one does a weird way of getting axed off, and it's like, when you just stop bullfighting, but that was their passion, so I guess they didn't want to stop. Now, that was part of one of the funny things, ironically, was while he was in this place, family members kept popping up, so-and-so, and all of a sudden, this person showed up, and you need to hurry up.
They need to hurry up, have some kids, because he was going to be the last one left. He's going to be the last one left, and we're like, hurry up now. Last thing is, with Coco coming out, we weren't really sure about the movie from the announcement to seeing the trailers and the people who worked on it talk about it. And while there are people that say it's a ripoff of Book of Life, and some people saying you're just seeing things. It has similarities, but it's an original movie.
With a kid that looks just like Marco from Star versus the forces of
Yeah,
evil as the
but
lead.
I know that people are going to be really divided on this because people absolutely love Coco. Book of Life kind of shortened it into a more of an epic quest when it got to that element, but Coco treats it as the entire story for the whole movie.
Okay, that's one take on it. Two things I like to add to that. One, I don't want to call it a ripoff, because two, this the creator may have been inspired by Jorge Gutierrez,
Right.
and which is a great thing. Two, Disney always puts their take on other people's writing in their movies, so it's possible that Disney insisted on it being more like Book of Life for it to be a commercial success, and this person wanted their movie to be put out, went ahead and said, okay, let's do it. You may be right. I mean, I know you've seen where people say that it's so similar that you think it was just literally lifted from this movie.
Right.
So,
that's why all the jokes on Tumblr are just he's Monolo and he's Marco in one. That was basically the character. But yes, people loved this movie a lot when it came out, and people loved Coco. So maybe they find common ground with it because they love both movies, have the similar take on this holiday. And I really, really love Book of Life. Everything about it, I absolutely love. I love the music. That's which is the first, because usually I don't like the music in there half the time. I like certain songs, but not all of them. But every song here was really catchy, and they could sing along to it. It's really fun. It's really positive to never give up on anything, no matter who says what, or what people think about you. You stay true to yourself without it being hammered into your head.
Yeah, and be yourself.
Right.
The way he defeated the way he won the challenges by doing what he did best.
Right.
Instead of copying what his ancestors did, he did what he did best. And that is true for anyone, no matter your age. Find what you love and do it. And as you said, no matter what anyone tells you, no matter what anyone says you should be doing, you know, you've got so many pioneers that have forged paths for decades because they didn't listen to what others told them. And if they did, we wouldn't have, for better or for worse, you wouldn't have Facebook, you wouldn't have Twitter, you wouldn't have Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. So there's so many things and so many different areas that would not exist if people had listened and said, you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or that's not the norm. That's not the norm. You should do what everyone is used to. So, forge your own path.
Yeah. And we highly recommend this movie. And unfortunately, it's not available on Netflix. I don't think anymore. They do have Coco, though. So if you want to purchase this movie, it's available on Amazon, along with a soundtrack and an art book showing how they developed the movie. And all of them are worth taking a look at.
Now, if you've seen both Coco and Book of Life, in the comments, let us know if you think they are very similar, of one is a ripoff of the other, or if you think they're two totally different entities, and why each has its own merit. We'd love to hear why.
Yeah. So, thank you for watching, everyone. I'm Ask Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? My man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Hit her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you later on in